Protests and arrests mar the annual Thanksgiving Day parade in New York City. Demonstrators angered by a jury's decision in a Ferguson police shooting case rallied to stop the parade.
No peace, no racist police.
Dead bodies on the floor.
Nothing to be thankful for.
Dead bodies on the floor. Nothing to be thankful for.
Protesters used the national holiday to attract more attention to the case of Michael Brown, the African-American teenager killed by a white police officer in Missouri. There was heavy police presence across New York City as officers braced for demonstrations on the sidelines of the event. Police arrested at least 7 demonstrators at the parade. Protesters chanted slogans such as Black Lives Matter, Demilitarize the Police, and Stop the Parade. This week, a grand jury in Ferguson decided not to charge police officer Darren Wilson in the fatal shooting of unarmed Michael Brown. The decision has triggered coast-to-coast protests in the United States. Let's now get the latest on that. We're joined by Caleb Maupin, PressTV's correspondent, who's joining us live now via Skype from New York itself. Caleb, tell us the latest about the arrests that occurred here, as well as this movement to stop the parade.
Well, in the aftermath of the verdict in which Officer Darren Wilson, who killed black African-American teenager Mike Brown, after his acquittal and the refusal of the grand jury to try him, there was a call for no business as usual in the United States, and they want things to be brought to a halt. And in the last couple of days, that's involved the stopping of highways and all kinds of things here in New York City, as well as in other parts of the country. And today, the annual Thanksgiving Day parade, sponsored by Macy's department store, was going to take place. And there was a call to stop the parade and use the parade to draw attention to the fact that the police are murdering African-American men like Michael Brown or Eric Garner or others who've been killed by law enforcement, and to make that clear. And there was an attempt, about several hundred protesters went down to attempt to disrupt the parade, and the police were very violent to them, and people were preemptively arrested. The parade was never stopped. At no point did they disrupt the celebrations, but because the police found out through surveillance and through other means that they were intending to do it, they preemptively arrested 6 to 7 people, possibly 8, according to some reports, for possibly planning to disrupt the parade in a peaceful way.
And so I'm wondering, Caleb, are police allowed to do that before anything criminal has even occurred, arrest people just based on the prospects of stopping a parade?
Well, that's completely illegal under U.S. law. Now, the charge that the 6 to 8 people are being held on, according to all the reports, is disorderly conduct. And that's a very, very low misdemeanor. But protesters are routinely arrested on disorderly conduct charges. It's a very, very petty crime. At the most, you can get a fine or perhaps maybe 1 to 2 days in jail. It's a very, very small charge, but it's very broad in its language. It's very unclear exactly what constitutes disorderly conduct. During the Republican National Convention in New York City in 2004, hundreds and hundreds of people were preemptively arrested to keep them from protesting, and they ended up suing the city of New York and winning thousands of dollars in compensation for being preemptively arrested. The New York City Police Department does have a policy of preemptively arresting people and then taking lawsuits afterwards. And then after people sue them after 10 or 12 years in court, then they're paid some money after being preemptively arrested. That is illegal. You can't arrest somebody on the prospect that they may commit a crime in the future. But that's part of the trend we're seeing all throughout U.S. society, whether it's military detention under the National Defense Authorization Act, and we just saw it today. The fear on the part of Bill Bratton and the leaders of the New York City Police Department that some forces may attempt to disrupt the Macy's Day Parade was responded to with preemptive arrests that were done very violently. Video has surfaced. These were not calm arrests of people just being handcuffed and taken away. These were rather rough affairs. The videos show cops jumping on people, throwing them to the ground, pushing their faces into pavement. It's a very, very violent altercation that happened when these people just assembled and intended to go somewhere and do something.
Okay, Caleb, thanks very much for getting up to speed on that occurrence in New York at that parade there as protesters are trying to bring some attention to the Mike Brown case. That was Caleb Maupin, PressTV's correspondent, who is speaking to us live from New York.